Very excited to have all of you here today. The 31st Annual Critics' Choice Awards is coming up January 4th, and I couldn't be more excited. I guess I could be more excited if we had two of these back to back, but we have one big show, and I'm so excited to have all of you here talking about the film nominations. So let's just begin and let's go through our list of people here who are talking from Critics' Choice, and just tell us your name and where people can find you online, or where people can find you as a critic. Let's start with Joey.
Joey Magidson, Awards Radar. You can find me at Awards Radar, and also, you know, crying over the Mets and Jets.
uh,
Hi, I'm Thelma Adams, and I've been reviewing movies for 30 years. I'm a Rotten Tomato top critic, and I've been writing for AARP for the past 7 years.
Fantastic. George.
Hi, I'm George Wolf. My main outlet is madwolf.com, also Mad Wolf Columbus on all the socials, and we're also carried by the UK Film Review.
Fantastic. Lonita, please.
Hey, I'm Lonita. You can find me at Hello Iowa and lovelonita.com.
And lastly, Kristen.
I'm Kristen. Like Thelma, I'm a Rotten Tomatoes critic. I'm right everywhere, but you can also find most of my criticism at my site, The Film Maven, at thefilmmaven.com.
Well, I am happy to have all of you here. I thank you for your time. More importantly, I thank you for being part of Critics' Choice and giving your thoughts and your criticism for the people themselves. So let us get into this quickly and just start from the top, and we'll jump around a little bit so we don't know exactly what's happening. But let us get into Best Picture. And I'm going to take the list in no particular order, just so no one has any thoughts particularly. Let's just go over some of these nominations for Best Picture to start off with, and then we'll go from there. First one I am going to talk about is Begonia. So who would like to talk about Begonia and why they think Begonia definitely need to be on this list?
Yeah, I'll do it. I saw it at the Telluride, and I mean, Yorgos and Emma have a very specific thing going, and you can tell when the audience is into it. And you know, that's a crowd that doesn't always respond to an edgier film. I was there for certain ones where it's like, oh, that's not hidden. Saltburn's not going to do it. But much as you love it, Begonia, everyone was with it for every single moment. And by the time it starts to get twistier, you can almost hear people leaning forward a little bit. And I always like that when you're at a thing with like a stodgier crowd sometimes, and you can see they're like, their pretension is washing away and they're just wrapped up in a story. And you're like, haha, he's got him again.
It is definitely a crazy one. Anyone else have any other thoughts on Begonia before we move on?
I liked it, and I'm a huge fan. I am a huge fan of the duo of Lanthimos and Stone. It's so amazing to see them together. I would say he's punching them out pretty quickly. And this one, to me, even though I appreciate it, I would say was not my favorite of the last group, but definitely a collaboration I want to see again and again. And ducking into the Best Actress, just who would have thought that Emma Stone had this crazy range and this ability to dive into the unknown?
Well, I mean, she produced it, so I'd argue she probably thought she had it.
Well, Yorgos has been a good bet for her nonetheless. So I think she's doing all right there. Let's move on to this movie, which is Pure Safety. And if you don't know what that means that you are not you are in the edge of your seat constantly, because that is the where they start you and they keep you 100%. So George, tell me a little bit about Marty Supreme.
Oh man, you're absolutely right. I mean, by the end of this ride, like so many of his, you're in a sweat. This character played so terrifically by Timothy Chalamet, just shot out of a cannon from the shoe store on. And I viewed it as, you know, as much as exciting as it was to go through his quest to, right his wrong, about being beaten early on. It was about finding something that he valued more than himself. I think was kind of his arc to me, and how he was able to just sized everybody up from the moment that he saw them. How can I make you work for me? And I will say or do anything to make you an asset to myself. So much so that he's not very likable I mean, he just uses people one after the other, heading towards some redemption there at the very end. So, I mean, you're absolutely right. That's a Safdie ride, and I was in from the beginning.
It's a lot. It's a lot to take in, and anyone who watched it, either you absolutely loved it or you just felt like tense, too tense to get out of it
Yeah,
too. So
right.
there's so much about it too. It was fantastic.
And also, George, you're so right. There's that big debate of, can you have an unlikable character?
Right.
And this would be example A.
Yep.
Not that he isn't watchable, charismatic, looks good, energetic, but he ain't a nice guy.
No. No.
Lonita,
At first, I thought, oh my goodness, I wanted to take notes on confidence building watching Marty Supreme, right? But then it was like, oh, he's a little bit too far to the edge for my taste. But what I really love about Marty Supreme is that it is a wide reacher. And so I think teenagers are flocking to this thing because they love Timothée Chalamet. But of course, those who love award season baiters, they are flocking to this thing. So I think it's going to be your 4 quadrant. And I think it makes it really rare for the type of film it is.
100%. Absolutely.
Agreed.
One of those films I did not know. I was hard for me to kind of separate the character from the people. It took me the second time watching it to even notice that Penn Jillette was in it as well, too.
Right.
So I didn't get the first time. So it took me a second there, too.
Kristen, New Yorker, it's just all New York people that are not actually showing up.
And I do love the starting in the shoe store.
Right.
I mean, that really roots it in a certain culture, a culture that I'm aware of, that immigrant New Yorker, the apartment, all of that stuff is very much believable, real, and roots him at the beginning.
Yeah, agree.
Let's move on to One Battle. Kristen, tell me a little bit about this film. And it is a front-loaded film that has been up and down throughout the whole year with people's love. So,
yeah, historically, I am not a PTA fan. I tell people up until this year that the last PTA movie I liked was Boogie Nights. And yet I completely fell in love with this one. I've seen it several times now. Thanks HBO for always having it on. And I think what I gravitate, and I think what a lot of people are gravitating to, is that it feels very timely. It definitely feels like you're watching a little slice of what's been going on around us in a way that is completely absurdist. People do not realize that what they're watching is absurdist humor, and they're really into it. It's a great workplace for character actors. I have a lot of friends that are like, oh yeah, that guy. I haven't seen that guy in something in a minute. I mean, the cast is stacked, and everybody's doing really great work. People love Leo when he does comedy. Wolf of Wall Street was, I think, in a similar vein. And it's just, I think it shows how Paul Thomas Anderson is able to grapple with something so dense and intellectually charged as Thomas Pynchon, while adapting it to his style and working with a bunch of some of the biggest personalities in film. It's definitely a movie that I think a lot of people, even if they weren't like me, really interested in the PTA of it all, still went and saw it because they heard people talking about it or they saw it advertised, and were drawn by it.
Are you saying Sean Penn has a big personality?
I mean, just a smidge, just a little bit.
I always found him to be deeply chill.
I mean, I think the character, what's interesting is I've had a lot of people ask me, as the disabled critic, is Sean Penn playing the character as on the spectrum or as an autistic character, which I think is really interesting. The way people have been going into this movie and kind of pulling stuff out, I've seen a lot of people talk about the component of race, the component of gender. This is a movie that I think it's been a minute since I've seen a lot of people that aren't like deep in the film scene start to like cut away and analyze and use that critical thinking element of watching a film, active viewership, which we know is in short supply. It's interesting that it all kind of bubbled up for this.
Yeah,
my favorite analysis is that he's playing him as Vince McMahon.
All right, we're going to move on. We're definitely going to come back to this as we go through the other categories, so we'll talk more One Battle. But Thelma, tell me, Frankenstein.
Okay, first, it's Guillermo del Toro. So anything he does is gorgeous, stunning, beautiful, interesting. It's an interesting take on a father-son story. Jacob Elordi, fantastic. It's funny. It's kind of, for me, fun to go through it and go, oh my God, that's the scene in Young Frankenstein. And look how he does it. So I honestly think that it will do hugely well in the categories that are design, makeup, etc., etc. Is it gonna? I'm not feeling winner number one vibes on this, and I would be open to someone telling me I'm wrong.
Well, we will find out. Joey, let's talk about something that has been a big push and just emotionally a ride, which is Hamnet. Yeah, there is so much to this film, and we'll get to some other categories now, but just talk about this film.
Yeah, I saw it in Telluride at the premiere, and I was almost washed away by the tears. It's one that I appreciate more than I fell for, but I also understand the power of being in a room where almost every other person is openly weeping, handing each other tissues, like making weird, like guttural noises where you're just like, this is more than this movie's, a tearjerker. It's reaching deep in you and doing something. And whether it works for you or not, I feel like there's something to, if a movie can have this kind of impact, while being ostensibly a period piece about Shakespeare, it's doing something right and speaking to your soul. So it makes sense that it's doing as well as it is. Well, if you just describe the movie to someone, it almost sounds like a thing that used to be more of a nomination movie than it is currently. So it's an interesting kind of caught in the middle. If it wasn't Chloe Zhao, I don't know that it would be having this kind of response.
And I would say also that it's a theme that we see in a number of movies, like Sentimental Value, this idea of huge grief transmuted into art.
Yes.
And so and I think that's what takes it bumps it up another level from a weepy.
Yeah.
Is that it talks about how different people deal with grief, and it puts it in a Shakespearean context, which is genius.
Yeah, that's why that third act just really elevated it for me. I mean, that third act just was so incredibly moving to me. That's where it really got me.
Well, we are going to go into different categories. There's luckily a lot of our films, the films we chose, the components and the actors there are definitely part of our other categories too. But George, let's talk about this one, which I have loved since I saw it at Sundance, Train Dreams.
Oh man, I was so lucky to see this on the big screen. And I've been telling everyone, if it comes around again, after nominations, please see it on the big screen. It's beautiful. It's when they asked me for my reaction as soon as I walked out, the first word that came to my mind was lovely. It's lovely and so moving and so beautifully photographed and beautifully acted. Joel Edgerton, again, just such an underrated MVP. He's incredible. The story of this man and how all these people come and go throughout his life and make an impression on him and vice versa. I want to read the book now because this was such a beautiful, beautiful piece of filmmaking and among my absolute favorites of the year. Loved every second of it.
Well, it does a thing where it makes an average person extraordinary. And that's, Life of Chuck did it this year. Like, I think when it's fun to watch Superman be Superman, but when you watch just a guy, you can kind of put more of your stuff onto him. And I think that's what makes, again, an ending that is very simple. Just absolutely, whatever emotion you want to have. Like, found myself very sad, but not because it's a sad movie, just because you're like, oh, that's life. And life can be sad. It's not telling you how to feel. It's asking you to feel.
I agree. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
No, I agree about wanting to go back and read the book. I want to know how they constructed the narrative in the novel, or so that they knew to create these massively beautiful and emotive visuals. Is it just the cinematography? He said, let me get in here and do my thing. Or is it a trigger from the book itself? Because like you said, it was stunning. It was arresting. It was inspiring. Just not just the majesty of it, but the actual assets that they chose to include in each frame. The decision making was awe-inspiring. And so I wonder how much of that is just the artisan saying, you know what, I got this, or taking their cue from the source material.
I have the book right here, so if we don't want to sit tight for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yes. This is the show now.
Start at the acknowledgments in the beginning and let's go.
I'll do
That's quite the read. I will say that go with Joey's thought. The idea of making every life magical is great. It made me 100% think about our grandfathers' lives and everything they did and how their lives were magical in their own senses. We just didn't know it. We will move on though, and Lonita, talk to me a little bit about this comeback, Wicked for Good.
So Wicked for Good. This is part 2 of the highly anticipated musical adaptation of that just show-stopping Wicked. It is the conclusion of Galinda and Elphaba's story together. It is a huge story about friendship, or I would call this anti-friendship, like an anti-hero. This is my anti-friendship film. That's all I have to say about the movie. Thelma's, been kind of expressing, these titles that, we want to see, can't wait to see how it will come out. I think this is one of those titles. I don't have it in the winner's seat for me, but I can't wait to see how things turn out for it.
Well, it is there for a reason. It is beloved. And we will talk about some other people in this who are in other categories moving forward too. Kristen, let's move on to another film that has been getting a lot of love in different critic circles as well, which is Sinners. Tell me a little bit about Sinners, and just this matchup with Ryan and Michael is always magic.
Yeah, my cat is in the frame, and so she is a definite Sinners fan as well. So, fun fact. No, I mean, if you had told me at the beginning of 2025 that everybody would collectively lose their mind over a Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Coogler vampire, 1920s story that draws homages to Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight, and From Dusk Till Dawn, I would not have believed you, and yet I should have. This, I think, it's a real 4-quadrant movie, which we don't really see a lot of. It's a movie that I know a lot of people that did not go to the theaters before went out to see this multiple times. And it's got everything. It's a genre story, but it's filmed so epically, and it plays like an Oscar film. It's got a great soundtrack. Again, it's got great acting. I cannot stress enough, people are really looking for horniness and sexiness in movies, and this, I think, brought a lot of that back into conversation. In a decade where we are hearing that Gen Z isn't into sex on screen, like Sinners, I think, just upended a lot of preconceived notions. Do I say it's a perfect movie? It kind of is. It's a movie that, every time it's on, again, thanks HBO, I will sit and watch it, from whatever point that it's on. And I think people were really seeking that. When we talk about some of the great movies that withstand the test of time, it's that they're fantastic entertainment pieces, but they also have this elegance and classiness and legitimacy to them. And I think 30 years from now, if there's still a world to deconstruct and culture, I think Sinners is gonna be part of that.
Totally agree.
There probably won't be, but
And the music.
Joey's the cynic.
And the music. The singing, the music.
Yeah.
It just took it to another level for me.
Yeah.
Because it was never superfluous.
No,
it always moved the story forward. It always gave you a different side of these monsters and of the people and of the joy it is to dance to that music, whether you're undead or alive.
It's all the things people say they want to go see in a movie, but when they're on their own, they don't tend to. And when we have this big issue about how to get people to see a movie, the simple answer is make something they want to see. It sounds easy, but nobody does it. And yet when they do, it's always a shock that it does well.
Right.
Well,
yeah, as a big horror fan, this was a great year for horror, and this was right at the top, and I loved it so much.
And as a big
100%.
horny fan also, you know.
Yeah.
Thelma, let's go really quickly into Sentimental Value. We're going to talk about some of the people who are in this in categories beyond, but this film as a whole.
I am so glad that you threw this to me because I saw this in Toronto on a beautiful day of seeing every movie was great. And this was my favorite movie then. And it still is my favorite movie. I love Renata Redensky. Stellan Skarsgård could not be better. Lord knows if you see him in Andor, he's fantastic. He is such a great actor. I am so into this idea, again, of art and grief, and in this case, estrangement, which is a really big topic in 2025. How do people navigate estrangement? How do they come together because they share so much? In this case, a love of acting, a love of theater, and everybody's great. And I think Joachim Trier is now one of my favorite directors, period.
100%. Last one we will go to, and we will kind of move around here.
Yeah, Jay Kelly stars George Clooney as a Hollywood A-lister who's coming to the golden era of his career. And he is kind of in a friendship or professional ship with his manager, Ron, played by the stellar Adam Sandler. And so this is really just a movie about negotiating the career, the decisions we've made to create the career, and the relationships that we've sacrificed along the way.
It's a very rare movie in that it asks what it takes, what you have to give up to be famous, which movies have done before. And movies have also said you kind of have to give up everything. But this is the first movie that also has said it's kind of worth it if it hits you in the right way. And I thought that was incredibly powerful at the end to watch, like, oh, I've given so much of my life that I could have been happy with to this thing that I don't know loves me back. And then you realize, oh, it kind of does love me back. And I think for people who love movies and want movies to mean something, there's a power in watching an actor watch himself on screen while people are moved by him. And it's, you know, it sounds like it could play real poorly, but there's something about Noah Baumbach exploring that, where by the end, you're kind of like, I don't know, I love this. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. Kind of blew me away.
And speaking of Noah Baumbach, I think that his vision as a director is really elevated by his partnership as a writer with Emily Mortimer. She has this trademark on screen. She has this trademark toughness combined with genuine and sincere sweetness. And I think that comes through in the writing and is preserved throughout the movie. It's very important to this one.
Right.
I watched the premiere, and the first thought after everyone got out, all the critics, our questions were about what we choose in life and then what we owe. Because what do you owe your children? You know, everyone was like, oh, they were rich. They got to go to every college. They got everything they needed. And like, yeah, but what about emotional owage and all these things too? So there was a lot that came up from this film too. So I was very excited to talk about that. Let's move over to best actor. We are all critics and we can talk about movies forever. So but I also want to get us through some of these too. Let's just kind of run through a little bit and talk about what all these actors are doing correctly and what they have kind of delivered this year. Let's start really quickly with Wagner Moura, who, of course, Secret Agent, an amazing film, something that took many by surprise, and should be in many, many, many categories. And for a lot of people, any thoughts on Wagner?
Yeah, this was probably the film that I saw most recently of these, and it blew me away. I mean, he's playing mainly one character, but by the end he's playing two, and carved out two very distinct personalities that mean so much by the end of it. And it's such a well done piece of 70s filmmaking that also feels like a 70s film. I mean, that's the setting, and they get it right. All these references to other movies, which I loved, but it just feels like a 70s type of thriller as well. And the main reason that I was pulled into it was his performance. I mean, was just great. He deserves all these accolades as far as I'm concerned.
And
I agree, George.
Speaking of two characters too, Joey, tell us a little about Michael B. and playing two characters too.
Yeah, I mean, this is an actor who is shocking, has not been nominated for more things in his career. Like, pretty much from jump has been a compelling movie star, which is its own category, but also a strong actor. And I think here, playing twins is an easy way to just do the same thing twice and get praised for it, but you never have trouble telling them apart is kind of the most incredible thing. You never don't know who you're watching. And also it's a movie that asks him to be a movie star too, and do drama and do horror and do horny with two different characters. Like there's never a moment where you're not watching this going, I can't wait to see what he does next, which is kind of all you want out of watching an actor, but also to do it in a way that, we're in a vampire horny horror movie period piece where I didn't know they make those because they only made one. It's if he gets nominated, it's the perfect thing because it's such a culmination of what he does well.
Yeah.
100%. Lonita, let's talk about Leo. Outside of the whistle, which is still in my head every time I think about it, what is it about this role and he just the right choice for the right character? And because, in my opinion, he doing the character right allowed the others to shine as well.
Interesting. I think Kristen already said it. We love him when he's comedic, when he's a little bit hapless as well, because that's where he is in this. And he plays this guy who has the opportunity to be active in his life, but instead chooses to let the world act upon him. And I think that is a very difficult thing to play and still be funny and still be Leo. And I think, of course, he's Leonardo DiCaprio, been in the game forever and ever. So who else is going to be able to do it? But, and I'm thinking about this thing that you just said. Does it allow his performance? Does it allow everybody else to shine? That's an interesting observation. I don't know that I would have thought that. I think.
Oh, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that it shows what a capable support he can be to other performers, like there's a reason I think people gravitate to the sequences with him and Benicio del Toro is that they both seem on the wavelength. Neither one overshadows the other. It's why his girl dad relationship in the movie with Chase Infinity works so well because he is not smothering her performance. He is elevating it and they're working in sync. People joke that Leonardo DiCaprio is the most famous actor trying really hard to be a character actor. And I think that this really does cement kind of the vibe he's going for. He very much is trying to go against this ingrained persona that we know of his personal life, which is like being this swinging single bachelor and of course the jokes about the youth of his girlfriends. Here he's really going against that and playing a character, a guy that has a daughter, is a bumbling oaf. Again, it's a very pinch character. You would find this in his work, and it's working so well. I think that Leo is one of the few actors I keep saying quests to challenge himself and tries to do work that is not in his comfort zone. It works in his comfort zone, but I think he is one of the few actors that is not content to rest on I can just be Leo and it'll be fine.
Right. PTA weaponizes it because there's a scene that looks like it's about to be an action scene and he immediately falls down.
Well, they talk about that a lot in this film. So I love everything when they broke down how this film works. You can see the actors being actors and actually figuring out the characters and how the scenes work. Thelma, let's talk about Ethan and just what he delivered here because it's not something we would have expected.
I'm happy to do that. I'd also want to do shout out to Benicio del Toro.
We'll get to that category.
But I wanted to say also Phoenician Scheme, which no one's talking about. He was as brilliant as he could be. But Ethan Hawke here, I adore Ethan Hawke in this. I adore the way he could hold the center of this entire movie that's basically one set. It's basically Sardi's. It's one night, and he is running the show. And it's so much not a character Ethan Hawke plays. Not that he can't do everything from Before Sunrise to
Daybreakers.
whatever training day, like he can do it. But in this, he's so soulful, he's so needy, he's so witty, and his interaction with Andrew Scott on the steps is like, to me, master class of acting.
100%. Joey, we George touched on a little bit when we talked about it, but Joel Edgerton in this role, I mean, to celebrate a man's life, but to be so stoic in a way that just draws you in.
And it's a not silent performance, but he's quiet the whole time. I think it speaks to a lot that the narrator is not him. Like you wouldn't assume in a movie like this he'd be narrating, but it really, things just kind of happen to him and he takes it in and he observes and he's obviously changed by it. But it isn't until late in the third act with Kerry Condon where he first speaks to what's been going on in his life. And it's said in a very simple delivery of this kind of guy, but it's the first time you're hearing him express the feelings that you can tell he has because of the acting Joel's doing with his eyes. But it's the first time his mouth lays truth to the pain he's going through. And the pain that like a lot of people go through, and men especially at that time, just it was not okay to say you were upset. You just went on with your life. And he does, but it's the one time he's able to kind of say, well, here's what's going on, and I'm sad and this hurts. And you can tell it frees something up in him. And, I've never seen Edgerton do something like that before.
I think it's an amazing role, and I've been happy. Like I said, I've been happy about it since I saw it at Sundance. George, sure. Let's go into this young man he is campaigning hard. He did amazing last year and was up again, but this time might be the win for him. Talk a little bit about Mr. Chalamet.
Yeah, we were talking about a little bit earlier about what a ride it was, and it all falls on him. I mean, he takes us along on this ride from that shoe store, and it's just breathless. And how he embodies this guy to, again, like we talked about before, you know that he's not a good guy, but you're drawn to follow him. And is he going to get to avenge this loss? What's going on? And then what's with the dog? And all this stuff is going on in the Safdie type of movie, and he just pulls us along. We're just afraid. I was just afraid to look away because I'm going to miss something. I mean, he's amazing.
100%. I think that there's a lot of other critic circles out there who are already loving him. He was just in Las Vegas on top of the Sphere talking about it too. So I think he's doing okay. We are going to move on to Best Actress now. And Kristen, let's talk about this role, because when I saw it, it triggered me in so many ways I couldn't understand like till later. Rose Byrne, if I had legs, I'd kick you.
Yeah, I'm going hard for this movie. I had a lot of friends when it came out reach out to me and say, what did I think of it as a story about a disabled, character that is being cared for by a put upon mother, which is a very common stereotype in disability discourse. And I think what Mary Bronstein and Rose Byrne especially gives the character is that desire to be flawed and live within it. I talked to a lot of critics who did not like this movie or the character because they were like, well, she's so selfish. She's so terrible. And I'm like, yes, because you've been conditioned to believe that, caretakers of disabled children have to be selfless saints, who have no life beyond, caring for disability. Disability is their world. And I think that the movie and the way Rose Byrne plays that character, you understand everything in her motivation. There is a piece that loves her child. There's also a piece that wishes she was just able to like vibe in her car and, be able to enjoy music. There's a part of her that wishes that her husband would get off the damn boat that he's working on and come help her. It shows the realities of what a lot of mothers of disabled and chronically ill children go through every single day because there is not enough support in this country. And I don't think people are ready to deal with that. I don't think they're ready to handle it. And Rose Byrne is just flawless in it. She to an extent, I want to preface this, not 100%, but to an extent reminds me of my own mom, in how she had to navigate raising me, without support and without those things, and trying to make everything look like it's fine while internally she's just like screaming. It's such a nuanced performance in a movie that I think is really trying to upend a lot of stereotypes that we have about disability in America. It's fantastic, and I'm going all in on Rose Byrne. She's fantastic in it.
But the booze and the drugs for your mom too, right?
No, my mom is too afraid of drugs, so she's not that part. What part was that?
Having met her, I feel bad I didn't bring her any less.
Yeah, there you go. Thelma, let's talk about this young lady, Chase Infinity.
She's the breakout star of the year. She just definitely has. Where was she before? I don't know, but now she's definitely on every list of breakout stars. And hopefully, if she's wisely used this campaign, she's set up all her next movies because she's going to be around to stay.
100%. Lonita, let's talk about this lovely Tresemme lady here.
That's Emma Stone, right? Barely recognizable. And Begonia. Here's the thing. Like, I have been less enthusiastic about the pairing of these two. But I love sci-fi. I love aliens. And so I said, I'm going to give it a chance. And I went in and I was definitely held. I was held in the intellect. I was held in the emotion, and I was taken along. And I think this was, obviously Jesse Plemons was awesome in that, but Emma Stone could not have given us what she gave us. And I think specifically is the never knowing. Is she or isn't she? Is it real or isn't it real? And I know we've seen that dynamic in many stories, but for some reason this felt realistic and not sci-fi. It felt real world, and she felt like a living, breathing human being, even through the end. If I can.
Also a deeply physical performance. She gets absolutely destroyed throughout this movie, and even back at Telluride, they like prefaced it by saying she gets really put through the ringer, and she had to step up and go, I was a producer on this. I had full agency throughout. I was okay with everything that happened. But you watch it and, there's not a lot of actresses that famous who are okay with, and then this happens and she goes, sign me up, let's go.
Well, 100%. And I will say we are remiss that Jesse Plemons, we couldn't add some more names because he's one of those names this year who did great in this film too. Joey, let's talk about Renata as in Sentimental Value. I loved her in Armand, and this is just an even better performance from her. It's just such a strong film.
Oh yeah, The Worst Person in the World. That performance is still maybe my favorite of like maybe the last 10 years. So like watching her get to, it's not the same character, but you could almost pretend like, oh, this is what happens when she's settled down just a little bit. But she has such a great agency with Trier that the way they deal with life, right? And because in both of those movies, the things that happen are not huge. They're not capital D drama, but they're the little d that we all go through. And the way that she handles things and the way that she sort of just has to deal with her sibling that she loves, her father that she has a complicated relationship with, this woman who comes in who is playing a part of her family but isn't, all these things could easily become wacky comedy, very maudlin drama. And the way it's all depicted is just, this is their life. And here's the drama that the house has hold, and the house being its own character. I think you see the way she takes in the environment really does feel like the house is a relative to her too. And by the end, you're thinking about her, which I think is such an easy thing to not have in a movie with this plot. You could be thinking about so many other characters, but by the end, you're thinking about what happens to her when the camera turns off.
There's a lot of themes this year: fathers and daughters, father,
daughter. I just want to say also, if you talk about first scenes in movies,
oh yeah,
that scene backstage, on stage, flipping out. It starts a movie that's very contemplative in a very energetic phase, so that by the end of that, you know who she is, not as necessarily as a person, but as an actress. And you see how everybody responds to her. And I would say that's one of the best opening scenes of 2025.
Yeah.
How they all respond to each other is hilarious, whether it's that or the DVD gift, and he's so proud of what he's given this kid. And you're like, that's not but like the way they all interact with each other is so knowing of this is round 10 of what we've been doing, and you're just watching this time
right
with each other.
George, we're going to go into this lady who has dragged emotions out of so many people and just delivered one of the best performances I've seen in many, many years.
Boy, you're so right. Just looking at that picture, just put me right back in that scene. Jessie Buckley has been incredible, I think, in everything that I've seen her. And in this film, so much about grief and the way she works with Paul Mescal to take you from, when they meet and they first get together through, what happens to the child is just gut-wrenching to that final act, which is, like I said before, what elevated this for me. And the way that look on her face that she's watching this play and she's watching it play out and storms through the crowd to get to the front. Oh, it's just the height of emotion, and most of it plays out on her face without dialogue. She's amazing.
It is one of those things that will stay with many, many people. And
the moan she makes, the like guttural sound she makes in that one scene is, that's acting that you don't see every day.
Yeah.
Kristen, let's talk a little bit about Amanda and Testament of Anne Lee.
Yeah, it's, again, a movie that I didn't think a lot of people would gravitate to. I mean, how many people willingly go out to see a movie about the Shakers?
Shakers there are.
Exactly. And I think that Amanda Seyfried has been putting in such good performances that have been consistently kind of flying under the radar, and here to kind of anchor this movie with such a visceral performance, one that combines, music and choreography and this, deep philosophy. I think working with someone like Mona Fastvold, she continues to work with just fascinating filmmakers, Amanda Seyfried. So I think that it really is kind of this turning point, in her career. I'm interested to see what she does after this, because, I feel like there's still a lot of people that see her as the girl from Mamma Mia, and now she's doing this, and they're like, oh, actually, she's really, she can act. She's giving this fantastic performance. I think it's surprising a lot of people, and I'm interested to see how she kind of takes that momentum and puts it on the next project. People forget there's this and The Housemaid in the same year, so I think the fact that she doesn't compromise on either performance, testament of a thespian right there.
Right.
No, she is amazing. And I know that some critics groups have even chosen her as well too. I saw this one at TIFF as well, I believe. So there's a lot there. We are running behind because we can talk about movies forever. So I'm just going to kind of jump through a lot of these things. And for anyone out there, please understand that I'm just moving quickly. But these characters, these roles, these performances are amazing. So let's just go quickly through Best Supporting Actor. We have Adam Sandler, of course, an amazing role from him. Just hearing him say, just coddling Jay Kelly constantly, just in my head all the time, and I love everything about it. Stellan Skarsgård, it was one of those roles too. I'm even gonna kind of expound. I'm just gonna go through the list right here, and then you guys can kind of throw some thoughts in as a whole. Sean Penn in One Battle After Another. We have Paul Mescal as well in Hamnet, who, like I said, there's some things that allow those characters to work together. Let's look at Jacob Elordi and his transformation in Frankenstein. And lastly, we talked about as well to Benicio del Toro, which absolutely 100% roles. And the only problem I have with that or the movie as a whole is I didn't get to see the sensei fight, which I really wanted to see. That's what I wanted to see so badly. And I did see it, and it messed my mind. So any quick thoughts on Best Supporting Actor category for us?
Sandler saying puppy.
Puppy, come on, puppy.
Amazing.
Joey, what did you say?
Puppy. The way that Sandler coddles everyone, his clients, by calling them puppy as opposed to like honey, darling. It's just such a specific, this guy has figured out that this is the perfect word to say that's, what I mean. I'm not being too personal. I'm not being not personal enough. You can tell he's been doing it for years and it's kind of lost a little bit of meaning. And it's part of what makes that character so great is his realization of like, wait, I'm not in the family as much as I thought I was.
Right.
My own family doesn't think I'm in my own family now. What do I have? Like, you could easily watch the movie from Sandler's perspective and it would be just as amazing.
Definitely.
I think with Benicio del Toro, the character is the best. The definition of a great supporting character to me is somebody where you desperately wish there was an immediate sequel film to see what was going on with him. The fact that he, in a movie that is so focused on loud revolutionaries, at the beginning, the French 75, they're blowing stuff up, and yet you have Sergio St. Carlos, who is working this whole underground thing. He's clearly been doing it for a while, and it's all just phone calls. It's all infiltration of different people in different places. It's this very quiet building up of a revolutionary network that is achieving potentially more than what the central group has been doing. I think that's a testament to a great supporting character. You want to see that movie. He's supportive of Leonardo DiCaprio's character when he needs to be. He's active when he needs to be. And I think the fact that we've all loved the few small beers line is a proof that Benicio del Toro can take the simplest line reading and just make it sing.
Yeah, he knew exactly who he wanted that character to be, and that's why they waited to make this movie to have him be part of it as well. But I will say, talking before about some characters that are so like bad choices. Sean Penn, a bad person, bad choice, but then again, just one of those roles that you could not stop watching, and you automatically came out just thinking about that person out there, that character out there too. So, I will leave out there, but there's so many other amazing parts to all these characters. Jacob Elordi kind of carrying a lot of that film, in my opinion, too. So Frankenstein was fantastic. And then Paul, of course, without Paul, Jesse couldn't shine the same way. He did a lot of that as well, but he delivered a singular character as well. And then finally, Stellan, who has been just the cornerstone of so many great movies over the years. And I want people to just recognize what this man does on a daily basis, because
he's my favorite on this. I don't know if he will win, and probably won't, but he has my heart, and that's who I'm hoping for.
Yeah. 100%. Let's move along, though. And if for anyone out there who is questioning, please watch all these movies, as I mentioned, because they are all fantastic. We will move on, though, to Best Supporting. And let's just kind of go a little quickly through this as well. Tiana Taylor in One Battle After Another. Just Perfidia. I mean, if you don't know already, you should know, because she will make sure of it, and she will shout it out through a megaphone. Next, we have coming back, we have Ariana Grande as well. She is delivering a role that I think not only musically, but just personality-wise, she is made for. This lovely lady right now kind of delivered a relationship and a backstory in so little time that made you want to know more about their history.
Is that Wunmi?
Musaku was so great, and she delivered something like you wanted to know. She helped separate the brothers too, in my opinion. She helped kind of create that separate category of who they were and how they were because of the choices they made. And Wunmi's character was definitely one of those choices, and she was fantastic in this. Now, this is one that some people freak out about just looking at her, but Amy Madigan, Weapons, is so good. It's so good. And anyone who watched it, even if they're like, I'm not a horror fan, it's still one of those movies that when you see the performances, it blows you away. And lastly, I'm just going to keep both these two in the same picture. Elle and Inga, fantastic. They are both up for a specific reason, because this movie is so good. And the director allowed them to be who they were, and each of their characters are so singular in their own ways, which was fantastic. So any thoughts on Best Supporting Actress categories?
Yeah. Lonita, do you have a thought? Because I think that Amy Madigan that Amy Madigan and the fact that everybody wore her outfit for Halloween shows that her character bled through into the mainstream. And she's like this actress that I've loved forever, haven't seen her that much lately. And then it's a pretty meaty role. She has a lot of scenes and they're cray-cray.
Yeah. I feel like Weapons is one of those movies. I wasn't going to see it at first. And my daughter, who is 24, went to go see it. She loved it. Horror is her jam. It is not my genre. But then my mentor, who is nearing 80, went to see it and he loved it. And I said, okay, I got to see this movie that has people from their teens all the way to those golden season years loving this thing. And I think this performance is one of the main reasons why it's been so effective.
Amazing right there too. I'm going to run through another quick little category here, which is just go through it for a little fun here. Let's go through animated. We have Zootopia 2. We have In Your Dreams from Netflix.
Yes.
Which just yes, which is an amazing film, and I think it should get a lot of love, even though it got, let's just be honest, got a little overshadowed when it came to this movie this year too, which was, I mean, a breakout hit. When you have the song, you have the kids dressing up for Halloween as all the different characters, the Huntrix's characters. So it was fantastic. This right here, Little Amelie and the character of Rain, was just such an artistic piece that people absolutely loved. Same thing with Arco as well. So great films too. So anyone have any thoughts on animated before we kind of just jump through some of these last categories? Animated is one of those things that people, if you have families, you of course watch a lot of the animated films. But honestly, there's so much art in a lot of when you get to the end of the year, when it comes to some of these animated films, it's not just about popularity. It's about vision and story and artistic nature too. So,
and it remains popular at the box office. Animated movies can bring together what do parents, what do grandparents do when they have the kids? They go to the movies. And so my adopted granddaughter is a total K-pop fan. Got her the book for Christmas, kept her busy. And any of these work, but I think what was interesting about this year is how good the animation was and how it did break the box office curse.
100%. Well, the beauty of animation is it can be any language. And it can be any language in any country, and it works out perfectly. So that's one of the things that makes it work out so well. And when you have something that just is just a good, heartfelt thing, it'll cross every ocean, every country line, and be a popular standpoint there as well.
I think that the animation best animated feature for me every year, but definitely this year is the most contentious category. I think that this is where all the competition is, because they're all so good. They're all so imaginative. They're all well executed. They make you feel, they make you think, they teach you something. Each of these films, because I'm not a K-pop fan like Thelma, and I learned something.
I will say I did miss Elio in that mix too. I want to make sure that Elio was in there as well. Lastly, I want to go through some of these real quick categories, and we'll just talk about them in kind of an overly fashion. Director, of course, I always love it. The old days of Hollywood, director and best picture used to be hand in hand, because the guy who made the dish and the dish should be kind of in the same sense. So I'm happy that one battle, Paul Thomas, Ryan Coogler for Sinners, Guillermo for Frankenstein, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Welcome for Sentimental Value, and Chloe for Hamnet. They're all in there, and I love it when those two connect, because in my mind they should, and that should be part of that as well too. Best original screenplay, there's some amazing stuff in there too. A lot of the ones we saw, but also Sorry Baby. movie. And then Weapons is in there as well for Best Original Screenplay Adapted. We have, of course, Train Dreams and One Battle, but we also do have No Other Choice, which is an amazing film in itself. And I think it just missed out on a lot of categories, but it's still one of those films that if you watch it and you really allow yourself to enjoy it, like it's just a fun ride, and it's funny and it's interesting and it's well thought out too.
And insanely timely.
Insanely timely. Cinematography, F1, of course, Train Dreams, of course, but you have Hamnet, One Battle, and Sinners. Production, we saw some great stuff, as well as visual, with everything from Fantastic Four to Wicked. Editing can go in the sense of The Perfect Neighbor, which was, that editing allowed you to be part of that story, and it allowed you to go in the ride and just honestly, just allowed you to clutch the pearls a couple different times over, just as you watch that whole thing. So, costume design, there's a lot of the ones you would expect from here too. Kiss the Spider Woman is one of the ones that I'm happy did make it into that category as well. Hair and makeup, a lot of the same things, although 28 years later made it into that category. Smashing Machine as well, but we do see Wicked and Frankenstein and Sinners. And then just a lot of our other fun categories, which are stunt design. So we see Ballerina, we see Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, which still an amazing film. It gets lost a little here and there, but when you talk about stunts,
yes,
Mission Impossible does that.
Yes, it does.
I'm not taking away that bagel from him. No, that's a win. Yeah, so stunt design, he gets that 100%. We also have comedy, so we do see Phoenician Scheme there. So I'm happy to have that there. Naked Gun, Friendship, which if you love that awkward style, you are more than welcome to that. And it's just one of those things that I absolutely love with Paul Rudd and him together. Ballad of Wallace Island was so heartfelt and funny, and it was great.
And also overlooked. It brings more people back to watch that one, it's so good and sweet.
Yeah, it is.
Best foreign language, it was Just an Accident. Left-Handed Girl, No Other Choice, Secret Agent, Surat, and Berlin. I mean, all those films could be the full Best Picture category in themselves. They should be. I mean, if you look at Sentimental Value too, you throw that in there, all of them equally could be best picture. And for a lot of people out there, they are. And so definitely check those out.
Secret Agent.
Yeah.
Watch Secret Agent.
Right.
Yes, 100%. And then we have some great songs out there. I Lied to You from Sinners was so great. Clothed by the Sun, Testament of Van Lee. We have Drive with F1, which was just poppy and fun. Golden, which was everywhere and is still everywhere and will be around for quite a while still too. So a lot of great other ones there. I will just kind of close out saying that this was a great year, and I was excited to be part of it, and I was excited to actually go to a lot of these festivals and ride along with these movies and kind of see as they grew. So I was happy for that. Lastly, I'll give everyone just a little quick minute or two each, and just kind of give us some quick thoughts on Critics' Choice this year and the nominations in films. Let's start with Lonita.
Oh gosh, I'm not even sure what you mean by that, so I'm gonna just say what I think you mean.
It's just an opening of like how great this year is and how great the nominees are. And there's my
yeah. I'm so proud of the organization because I think that we've watched all of these movies from all of the festivals that happen throughout the year, from the box office, from the art house, everywhere, and then that we've done a really great job kind of whittling them down and applauding them and honoring them for their creative nature and their creative work. And I think that as a collective, we've been just top notch at it. So
very much so. Kristen, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a year where movies have kept me sane, whether that's classic or contemporary films. And I think the fact that, Critics' Choice is reminding, I think, a lot of us why we're in this industry is it's slowly, changing or crumbling, depending on how you want to define it. It's been heartening. It's been heartening to get to talk movies. It's been heartening to have people that aren't necessarily movie people, come up to me and be like, hey, I saw a movie this year in a theater and this is what I want to talk about it. I think that it gives me hope for the next year that, film and film criticism and film culture culture will just continue to thrive.
George.
I think the nominations, top to bottom, are just stellar. Very, very few nits to pick on this entire group. And I'm just, as a horror fan, that's my number one genre. I'm so glad to see horror getting some due, a lot of due this year. So I love that.
Fantastic. Thelma.
I am thankful. This is only my second year in Critics' Choice, and I've been so welcomed, and it's such a great group. And again, fantastic movies. As George said, his genre is horror. Mine is rip my heart out. So there were plenty of things where I felt like I lived in somebody else's shoes for a day just by watching a movie.
True. Yes.
And Joey.
Yeah, close to a decade doing this in Critics' Choice. I think about how 300 and change new releases that I saw this year. You sit down, you do your ballot, and inevitably things you want don't get in. But, as much as I would love to see, The Life of Chuck in Picture, Jeremy Allen White, an actor for Springsteen, you look at the nominees and you go, well, there's nothing here that I can be like, well, God damn you. You would be mad at Michael B. Jordan. What are we doing here? Like the fact that it doesn't just reflect what we think the Oscars are going to be, because that's the laziest version of doing this. It truly does kind of pick from all the little avenues of film this year, and whoever wins, we win. So, as we try to stem the decline of Hollywood, we're doing our part.
Yes, and we are definitely doing our part by planting the flag. We are the first award show this year, and I think people need to recognize that. On top of our great nominees, we have amazing presenters as well. Ali Larder, Alicia Silverstone, Allison Janney, Ava DuVernay, Bradley Whitford, Coleman Domingo, Hannah Einbinder, Jessica Williams, Jeff Goldblum, Kaylee Cuoco, Marcelo Hernandez, McKenna Grace, William H. Macy, Regina Hall, Owen Cooper, Quinta Brunson, Rhea Seahorn. I mean, so many great people are going to be presenting as well. So hopefully everybody gets a chance to catch it. Of course, January 4th, this upcoming Sunday, 7 p.m. to 10 Eastern, 4 to 7 Pacific on E! and the USA Network. I am so excited for everyone to be there, and I hope everyone looks amazing, as I'm sure they will. Outside of that, I thank you all for your time, and I thank you for being amazing critics and paying attention and watching. As I said, not every influencer is a critic, but every critic is an influencer. So I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.